We are most privileged and honored to close our Festival of Ideas, the first annual Festival of Ideas for Dallas, someone we all know, respect. He is a figure who enhances our community and our city in so many ways. Bishop T.D. Jakes is CEO of TDJ Enterprises, founder and chief architect of MegaFest, and senior pastor of the Potter's House. And I'd like to ask Bishop Jakes to come to the microphone now and close us for the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow, this is exciting. I'm glad to be here. Yeah, somebody's glad to see me. Amidst all of these amazing ideas, which are really inspirational, I'm just so inspired and glad to be a part of it. This is my home. I was not raised in Dallas. I was raised in West Virginia. So I'm a hillbilly turned cowboy. I'm excited to be here and to be a part of the fabric of this community. And now it's home. 18 years in, it is very much home to me. It's become my life, not only spiritually, because I pastor the church and interact with 30,000 members here in the city and all of the people that they interact, but also the part of the business community, working with entertainment and developing films and event planning like MegaFest. This is of paramount importance to me, and the ideas that we talked about today are very inspirational and they're very powerful, and there is certainly a strong sense of energy in this room. In fact, I think you must be very courageous to put me up in a room with this much energy and give me a microphone. You might be in real trouble. But we've talked about the innovative city, we've talked about the physical city, the political city, the educated city, and all the education nuances here, the cultural city. But in order to really accomplish all of this, what we really need is the united city. We need a city that's united and galvanized around some ideas that we can really deal to make a change and to make things different. And I think that that can be done. I started working through the auspices of Dallas Morning News on a project about South Dallas. And by being an outsider, I really wanted to get a sense of what was really going on. For many, many years, I've heard all of the walls and the barriers and the racism and the regentrification of the community and all of that. But then being called upon to become involved, I took it upon myself to hold a stakeholders meeting and go down into South Dallas and pull out people of influence and listen at them talk and listen at them think. Because as my predecessor said, you cannot help people that you do not touch. No matter how much your heart is in the right place and how well-meaning you are, you can't stand at a distance and bring about a change with people that you don't intersect with, that you don't become involved with, that you don't allow them to have some say in what's going to go on in their lives. And I was amazed sitting and talking with them about what they thought and what they felt. And then I went up in North Dallas and started meeting with various CEOs. And I tell you, I was amazed. There's a vast difference between what people say is wrong and what is really wrong. There's a vast difference. There's an old rhetoric in our city that suggests that nobody cares, that the walls are too high, that they won't come down, that the barriers are too stiff, that we can't cross them. But when I talk to people from various walks of life, it seems like everybody does care. And I thought, what a tragedy that we don't talk to each other, that we learn about each other from what we read rather than to engage each other in the public square and really sit down at a table and talk about how we can make the city better. Anytime you really want to bring about a change, you have to really get your hands in it and touch it and feel it and see what's really going on. Our ministry has a sub-ministry up under it called the Texas Offenders Reentry Initiative that has tackled a serious problem that often flies up under the radar dealing with our criminal justice system. If we don't fix our criminal justice system and work much, much harder to give people second chances that they can get out of, most 70%, particularly of African Americans, are in there for non-violent crime, 70% of them, something they did when they were young, 15, 16, 17 years old. And then they come out, many can't vote, can't get a job, can't get a place to stay. And I'm a bootstrap guy. I believe you can pull yourself up, but you can't pull yourself up when your hands are tied, when you can't plan to get a place to stay or Nobody will give you a job. It gets pretty hard to pull yourself up. So 10,000 inmates have gone through our program, and we've been right down there at ground level zero where families are crushed and homes are crushed and communities are crushed. And I think to myself, there are too many smart people in this city not to be able to change things, not to be able to fix things. And many of them are in this room today, and it's so exciting to me to think about the possibilities of what we can do. As I talked to Andrew Young a few weeks ago about some of the initiatives that went on in Atlanta during the 60s and 70s and the major changes that they had to make and go through, he began to talk about the catalyst of bringing about a change. I was with President Bush after Katrina down when New Orleans was in shambles and pieces, and they were struggling to pick up the pieces and make a change. And there's three things that it takes to really make a change. There has to be a cause, and we've got a cause. And we've got a serious cause on a lot of different fronts, and it's a complicated cause, and I'm not even suggesting that I have all the answers, and I don't think anybody does. I think the answers are so complex that it is designed that we have to communicate to fix them. But there's definitely a cause, and there's a very good reason for us to engage and become involved in. Number two, there has to be a cure. And I just believe that the cure is in the ideas that are in this room, in the hearts and the wills and the spirit of people who came out through all of this ice and snow. Yeah, you all are courageous people at the very least, because you care, and that care is secure. Through our combined efforts, we cannot do it through politics alone, we cannot do it through education alone, but we need the whole community engaged. And don't leave out the faith-based community, because culturally, if you're going to change certain segments of this community, you have to recognize the influence and the power of the faith-based community. You have to understand the huge base of people that convalesce through areas like that and include us in the conversation as well. Because we know the people and we know the pain. And we bury the children and we stop by the hospitals and we go to the graveside. Our church alone, which is just one of many, many churches, does 400 funerals a year. We see people at their best and at their worst. We see mothers working 2 or 3 jobs, trying to take care of children by themselves, children left at home alone. We see the children who've been abused and molested. And I think to myself, there is a cause for us to galvanize. There's plenty to divide us, but I think there's more to unite us than it is to divide us. From North Dallas to South Dallas, I found everybody really caring about the same things. We have identified the problems, and through the ideas, we're coming up with some cures. But the most important thing that I want to leave with you, that I want to put in your heart and in your spirit, if there is a cause, and we have one, and if there is a cure, and we've heard many of them, then the last thing and the paramount thing that we must have is a call to action, a call that does not escape us by zip codes or income or skin color or education, a call that says this is not their problem or this one's problem, but it is our problem. It really spoke to me when I had my first grandchild, that I have a responsibility not only to see myself through, but to leave this world better than I found it, to make sure that we leave our grandchildren and children in a world that we have been responsible enough to pave the streets that they will walk on, to open the doors that they will walk through, to exemplify to them the possibilities of what can be done when we all sit down together. Ideas have cured diseases, changed countries, healed bodies, turned governments around. Ideas might sound like a small thing, but they are the huge catalyst to reformation. Ideas have one limitation: they cannot create themselves. They come from people who care, people who feel called, and people who say yes. And I just believe that if we work together, and if we labor together, and even if we can't do big things, if we give people a job who maybe have made a mistake and give them a second chance, and have the courage, the absolute courage, to reach beyond our comfort zones and touch people who have fallen and show them how to get up. If we say yes to the call to become engaged, it doesn't just bless the person you touch. It blesses your children and your children's children. It makes it possible that you don't have to build walls around your house, that you don't have to buy expensive security systems to guard your wealth. It makes it possible for you to walk down the street and not have to look over your shoulder. Not caring and not responding to the call is expensive. We live in a country that spends more dollars to incarcerate than we do to rehabilitate. We live in a country that has the highest rate of incarceration in the world, and we live in a state that has the highest rate second only to California. There has to be a better way. Babies don't come here drug dealers. They don't come here rapists or serial killers. Most of the things that scare us to death about people are learned behaviors. And I believe that if they can learn it, they can unlearn it. But they can only unlearn it when we hear the call. There is a clarion call going out. One of the reasons that I've become so involved in going around and meeting with people behind closed doors is because I suddenly recognized at a certain point in my life, I have to leave a trail behind, breadcrumbs, if you please, to say I was here and to say yes to that call. And from my perspective and from my world and from films and movies like Heaven is for Real that we just did and Jump in the Room, we can engage conversations. It's my little contribution to the Dallas soup. What is yours? If we all do a little bit, it will certainly be a whole lot. Now, I have been asked to tell you that after this, there's going to be a reception, and I'm going to be there. And they said something about beer and barbecue. I don't know whether I'm the best person to make that announcement or not, but be that as it may, maybe over the beer or the barbecue or something, we can talk, and we can touch, and we can listen. And if we hear a call, maybe we can say yes, even if it is over beer and barbecue. Thank you so much.